Greetings, YouTube. I'm autistic. I've been autistic my entire life. I didn't know it until I was 58, though I obviously began to question it prior to 58 when I got my diagnosis, because otherwise I wouldn't have gone for a diagnosis. And why the psychologist that did the study said that she actually thinks that my executive dysfunction uh, may not be ADHD. I just use the term because it's a good blanket statement that covers that particular type of executive dysfunction well, and it is a shorthand. So I don't know what the particular proper name for mine. She said it may be emotionally regulated issue. I don't know, but the reality is that if you look at the symptoms of ADHD, I have them all. Um, so because of this, my interpretation when people are giving instructions are different than when neurotypical people get instructions. And I've noticed that instructions have a very short life expectancy when typical people come into play. That if you give a neurotypical person a series of instructions, it is very unlikely that they will continue to follow all of them long term. All right. Now, there are times when not following an instruction is the smart thing to do. No questions asked. Um, and if and if I'm given an instruction at work, so long as it's not endangering me, or the health of somebody else, it's not unethical or illegal, I'll follow it. Even if it's dumb, I'll follow it. And I have been given many dumb instructions that make no sense whatsoever. And I've explained to my boss, like, you are aware that this doesn't do what you think it does, right? So, yeah. But if I'm given an instruction, that instruction will be followed by me until you give me a new instruction. And that has often surprised my boss. Why are you doing this way? Because he told me to do this way. When? I don't know, 6 months ago. And she just doesn't grasp, why am I still following that instruction? Because that was the last instruction. And you haven't updated the instructions. So I followed the last one until you do update them. Why is that such a hard thing to grasp? But it baffles neurotypical people that I will continue to follow an instruction even though it may be stupid or add a degree of complexity to a situation that they feel it isn't needed. Like I said, if an instruction is something that I think is unethical, illegal, or unsafe, I'll flat out ignore it. Like, I will not do that thing. And I've had bosses like blink at me like, "What do you mean you won't do that thing?" I'm not going to do that. And I've been very rarely have ever been called on it because they know they're ordering me to do something that I shouldn't be doing. And my refusal is the smart thing to do. And they were kind of expecting me to go along with it because they didn't care that it was illegal and or unethical or both. Um, and nowadays, if somebody asks me to do something that I think is beyond my physical capacities, I'll just say no. I'm disabled, physically disabled. I got arthritis. I have limitations, and I try my best, and I can accomplish almost every single task I've got. There have been ones I bumped into, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. This isn't that I don't want to. I can physically can't do that. Sorry. It hasn't happened often. It probably won't because I'm pig-headed. Ask my wife. Um, she's commented on more than one instance of that my stubbornness. Get that from my father, who was also very likely uh, also autistic, just undiagnosed and untreated. Um, but yeah, it baffles me when I give someone a smart instruction. Like, I can guarantee you that the instruction I'm about to give you is the absolute best way to do this. Okay, I'm just saying that it is the simplest, fastest way to do it. And if a person's like left-handed as opposed to right-handed, okay, we have to may have to modify those instructions because I'm a righty. Though I do tend to do a lot of things ambidextrous because it's faster. But my right hand's my dominant hand, and the arthritis is worst in my hand for that reason. But I'll give somebody instructions and I'll tell them flat out. I said, I know that you're gonna want to come up with your own way to do this, and that's awesome. You do that. But right now, while I'm instructing you, I need you to follow my instructions. I need you to do it the way I'm showing you to do it. Okay? Once we've established that you understand what's going on, And if you want to change that, I can't stop you. You're an adult. And that's what I do. I train them, to give them the instructions. I show them how to do something, and I walk away. And I've been like, well, why didn't you correct them? I said I did. Well, why didn't you make them do it right? I can't make them do anything. They're an adult. I can tell them to do something. I can say, this is how we're supposed to do it, or this is the fastest, smartest way to do it. But that doesn't mean they're going to do it. This has baffled more than one boss. Okay, if you want them to do it, go ahead. You tell them. You're the boss. Go for it. So yeah. For example, I have been given instructions on more than one occasion to rat on people, to spy on them, to observe what they're doing, and then to inform on them to the management for doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. But as long as they're not be harming themselves or others, and what they're doing is not illegal or unethical, I will tell them, the company doesn't want you doing this. You're an adult. And I'll walk away. And if they are adversely affected in the future by that decision of theirs, that's on them. And my boss has a hard time understanding that too. She seems to want me to impose things on people. And you can't control people. You can inform them. You can tell them why you think they should do something. And then you can walk away. From that point forward, that's on them. You know what I mean? So for the no, for the neurotypical folks, do you find it that you don't obey an instruction long term just because you think it's unimportant? And for the folks that are neurodivergent, do you really stick to that rule, that set of instructions, until you get a new set of instructions? And I'm interested in hearing how that goes. Oh, sorry, cat. Um, so let's talk about instructions and how we follow them and how we don't.